Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about karst topography or the landforms which are created by erosional activities on the limestone. So limestones are organically formed sedimentary rocks and they contain calcium carbonate, that is the main constituent. And calcium carbonate is soluble in water. It dissolves in water and also emits carbon dioxide gas. So as these rocks which contain calcium carbonate gets eroded by water, they form distinctive characteristics or landforms. Therefore, these landforms and stretches of limestone possesses a very distinctive pattern or structure. In a few hilly regions, you must have seen the drainage pattern is very irregular and sometimes a river disappears into the ground, leaving the valley very dry. And also there are some large hot springs or maybe springs which rises from a certain area. So this kind of structure is very regular in karst topography. The term karst is derived from a region which is called as Karst district of Yugoslavia. It's a plateau region. In karst, mostly such kind of landscape is well developed and seen. So, in a karst region or a region which has abundant limestone rocks, there are numerous circular pits which are called as sinkholes, which is due to the erosive work of water. Sinkholes are very deep depressions which are caused because of the collapse of the ground surface. So all the surface water and the running water, it makes its way into the sinkholes inside the ground because it's a very deep hole, and eventually it enters into the cracks and joints of the limestone rocks. Therefore, in a karst region, mostly the streams they disappear or they move into the sinkhole, and there are very less surface water which is running. Mostly the rivers are underground. So the river water, the stream water, or the surface water which seeps into the ground, into the sinkholes, what do they do is that they have erosive activity and they also form underground caves and caverns. This is done by solution or dissolving calcium carbonate from the limestone. In some caves or underground caves, you will see that there is standing water, and others we also see streams of moving water. Caves. So there are some underground caves which have got spectacular landscapes, and this is due to the work of underground water and the solution of limestone. One of the largest and most remarkable and exquisite underground cave is called as the Mammoth Cave, which is in Kentucky, USA. It's like a maze. It has got several chambers and sections. There are also grottos which are sometimes filled with water and are linked by several kilometers. There are passages and tunnels inside. There are also some artificial galleries which are created to attract tourists. Another very important and famous cave, which is a limestone cave and underground, is at Carlsbad Cave, which is in New Mexico. Here, the rock structures are highly decorative, and also there are several resources which are found here. Most of these caves are formed by water erosion and also by sulfuric acid. This is one of the New Mexico's UNESCO's World Heritage Sites. Now let's talk about stalactites and stalagmites, which are also important features of these underground caverns and caves. Now sometimes what happens is that there's a leakage and water seeps into from the roof of the cavern or the cave, and this basically saturates with limestone. So most of the water from these falls they evaporate, which are basically falling from the roofs downwards, or they are dropping from the roofs. So stalactites are usually very long and very slender. They are the deposits of the water which is left after evaporation. So each drop goes down and they form these deposits or these formations which grows downward continuously after a long time, and they form pinnacles which are pointing downwards. These are called as stalactites. So these are the residues which are left because the water which seeps into these caverns, they erode away a lot of limestone. So these are the residues of limestone as the water is evaporated. Sometimes we also see several columns of calcium carbonate which is built upwards from the floor of a cavern or a cave. This is because the water which is dripping from the surface or from the roof, it drips on the surface, and this forms stalagmites. So each time the water evaporates, it leaves behind a solid deposit, and this deposit only forms columns which moves or grows upwards gradually. Sometimes these columns becomes too huge and they even meet with each other. So the stalactites and the stalagmites, they even coincide with each other from the floor as well as the roof of the caves. So this is how the structure basically results. At Timpanogos Cave, which is in Utah in USA, it has got very colorful stalagmites, which are also attracting lots of tourists. The study of such underground caves and caverns and karst topography is of immense importance, especially for mining operations and for laying down of underground railways and construction of dams, as well as for water storage. Such passages which are formed along the karst topography also forms as a passage for escape of water through a reservoir. Such limestone or karst regions have got very poor vegetation and also very thin soils, which is not fertile. So the soil is very poor, and also some kind of sparse grass may grow, which can be useful for grazing of sheep and goats. Now, such type of phenomena is also found in the deserts. The deserts are those regions which are arid and have got very little or no rainfall. There might be some underground movement of water along the water table. So this underground water, which is under great pressure, may come on the surface through a spring. It can also come out when a well is dug into the water table. And this water which comes to the surface forms an oasis where there are lots of palm trees and bushes and vegetation and grasses which can grow even in a desert. As well as an oasis also forms as a halting place for the travelers who travel over long distances across the deserts. Sometimes near the oasis, intensive cultivation is also done and various crops are grown. So therefore, oases become a hub of various activities. There are some examples of oases like the Togot oasis, which is in Algeria, the Isfahan in Iran, and the Palmyra in Syrian desert.